You wouldn't expect a multi-billion-dollar company like Amazon, Netflix, or Target to add a new product or make a huge growth decision without having done some market research first. But why are you? The reality is research and development is an integral part of business growth and one that many businesses believe to be optional. Either because they don't know how to do effective market research that affects their bottom line, or how to apply their findings from the market research that they've done. But whether you're building a six-figure business or a corporation with thousands of employees, research and development matters. And to put it all in perspective, global research and development spending reached 2.5 trillion US dollars in 2022 alone. So it's time for you to get a piece of that pie and focus on building bigger. So let's get real. Now, hey, and welcome back to the Business Real Talk. On this episode, we're going to talk about what your customers actually want and how to leverage effective market research so that you can increase profits and revenue and get more conversions in your business. Now, a few years ago, I had a man reach out to me who was running a sandwich shop in Philadelphia, and his frustration was that he was doing everything he possibly could, but he wasn't seeing an increase in sales and new customers coming to buy sandwiches. And when asked, I asked him, what does the market actually want? And he looked at me like a deer in headlights. Now, this man had tried everything he could possibly think of. He had ran ads, he had created new specials around his sandwiches, he had decreased the prices, increased and added new menu items, but nothing was really working. And the problem was he might have been doing everything right, but he wasn't actually taking into consideration what people actually wanted. So what we did is within 2 weeks, we used primary market research to identify what people were actually looking for. This gave us the foundation of understanding how to actually meet the needs of his potential clients. And this looked like us specifically asking questions like, what is it that you actually want when it comes to going to a sandwich shop? And why would you go to, say, a mom and pop shop instead of Subway or Togo's, etc.? And knowing that and asking those right questions throughout our market research allowed us to identify two opportunity points. The first was that people didn't just want a cheaper sandwich. What they actually wanted was a hearty sandwich, one that was thick with meats and cheeses. They didn't feel like it was skimpy like the rest of those franchise sandwich shops. This allowed us to identify a huge opportunity where we didn't actually have to charge less in order to get more business, but what we needed to do instead was position the way that our sandwiches were made and what they really consisted of that spoke to those market needs. And the second thing we identified was that people kind of got tired of sandwiches. And sometimes what they wanted on their lunch break wasn't just another sandwich that they had again and again. They wanted to be able to test and try new things, be able to go outside of their comfort zone and try a new type of food. This again allowed us to identify new menu items that would actually get people interested. Now, within 30 days, what this actually equated to was a huge, massive increase in business, going from being in the red month after month and barely surviving through his business to actually making $4,000 in one single week as a sandwich shop in a small town in the Philadelphia area. Now, what you need to be able to understand is that we did two things as a result of the market research we found. First is we started to position the sandwiches that he made as really hearty sandwiches that didn't skimp like the rest. And we took the right photos and the right marketing, allowed people to see that firsthand, and people were lining up to the point that he actually had to bring on new people to help support the new demand. Now, the second thing that we took into consideration is that people were looking for an alternative to not always eating sandwiches. So we added biryani and some other ethnic dishes that were a part of his family tradition. And as a result, he got to do two things. One, bring more business, but two, create a really fulfilling opportunity where he got to share his food from his native Pakistan with more people. Now, I want you to think for a second. Having this understanding of what the market wanted would allow us to make even more rapid results in his business, but also created expansive opportunities without wasting more money. That means thousands of dollars saved and the opportunity to be able to expand to the tune of creating another store within the next 6 months. Now, the reality is most businesses either don't know how to do effective market research or they're just not doing it at all. And it's going to show up in overspending on ads and bringing in wrong fit leads that don't convert, or launching an offer to crickets, and slow buying cycles. And maybe you're spending hours or thousands each week on marketing to expand your reach, but you're not seeing a positive ROI. Or maybe you're lowering your prices or creating another special or a low ticket offer to meet the needs of that wrong fit audience. But market research is an asset, and it doesn't have to be some long, drawn out, or complicated or expensive process that leaves you with little to nothing to show for all that hard work. Now, on the flip side, effective market research has been a secret weapon for us and our clients to create results like a sold out mastermind to a brand new tiny community of just 350 people, resulting in over $40,000 in sales, or doubling sales within just 60 days without any new leads, just by shifting the positioning of an existing offer to her current audience, or creating instant authority in a highly saturated market space like health and wellness, resulting in a multiple 5-figure speaking opportunity and hundreds of leads by nailing a marketing strategy that struck a chord with that specific market. So let's talk about the multiple different ways that you can use market research effectively to increase sales. Number one is to validate a new offer or expanding an offer to a new market. Now, whether you're looking to create something brand new, or maybe you're looking to expand your current offerings to corporate or to a different audience or industry, the reality is having the right market research is what allows you to do that. Now, to show you what I mean by this, I want you to think about the e-commerce giant Amazon. They do so many things well, but making smartphones is apparently not one of them. The company released an Amazon Fire phone in 2014, and just 13 months later, that initiative was scrapped. Now, failed or lack of market research attributed to 3 different areas that they didn't actually take a look at that their audience wanted. Number one was that they had way less apps than competitors' devices. They had only 240,000 compared to more than 1 million that Android users were used to. Second was that they were late to a crowded market. iPhone was already in its 8th generation. And lastly, the phone's unique features were geared more to encourage users to make more purchases on Amazon than what they actually needed. That meant that just months after the phone's announcement, Amazon had $83 million worth of phones in inventory, and the company was forced to take a $170 million write-down charge on those costs associated with the device. This is what it looks like when we fail with market research to be able to bring new offers into the market. Now, the second one is increasing client retention and success. Now, for over a decade, Starbucks grew rapidly by incorporating customer feedback as a major part of their growth strategy. Today, consumers can walk into Starbucks and order a skinny beverage, receive digital rewards for using their Starbucks card, and enjoy the free Wi-Fi. These innovations and enhanced experiences are a direct result of Starbucks incorporating customer ideas shared via their My Starbucks idea. This is what it looks like when we understand market research and use it effectively as a business tool. Now, the third way that we can actually leverage market research is to increase sales and marketing effectiveness. Now, wherever you go, you'll probably see someone wearing Crocs. Whether you love them or you hate them, they have become a family favorite. But what you may not know is that Crocs was marketed as a gardening and fishing and boating footwear, and it struggled to capture the market. Many people hated the way that the clogs actually looked. They were bright, light, and strange looking. Now, Crocs was faced with 2 options: to either create a whole new category of shoes to try and meet those needs, or to capitalize on what people thought of their shoes. It was through that understanding and market research that they realized that there were a lot of people who looked for ways to showcase their individuality and nonconformity. By understanding this, Crocs shifted how they conveyed their brand, who they marketed to, and how they positioned their product in the market. As a result, Crocs saw massive growth of over 65%. And in 2023 alone, Crocs revenue was nearly $4 billion, all because they effectively marketed their brand by understanding what the actual audience wanted. Now, the fourth and final way is to understand consumer needs and competitive landscape so that you can find those market gaps. Now, Nike looks for market gaps so that they can create their cutting-edge solutions that's going to appeal to their target market using market research. A great example of this is Nike Flyknit technology, which uses a thin and seamless knit upper, and it was created using findings directly from market research, and it's been well received ever since by their customers. This is the way that we leverage market research and take what's into account so that we can create business opportunities. So now that we've talked about the ways that you can use market research to increase sales and knowing what your customer wants, let's talk about the types of market research and the market research tools we use and love. Now, here's the real talk. Most of you are not using market research effectively, and it shows. I can't tell you how often I speak to business owners who are either struggling to create marketing that lands because they're not actually sure what their clients' desires are or what they're actively seeking solutions to. Or they're not sure why their clients buy and they don't know what they've tried or considered prior to working with them. Or lastly, they don't know who their competitors are, nonetheless, what they teach, what their methods are, and how they compare. And this is a costly mistake to make because you're pouring more resources into testing and putting things out there more than necessary, and you're missing out on huge opportunities for lateral expansion. Now let's look at the different types of market research. Number one is data analysis. This is where we see trends and behaviors. Now, the reality is success doesn't start from scratch. Whether it's posting that reel that gains massive attention from the right people or deciding where to pour more of your marketing resources in Q3, data analysis gives you the leg up to gain the necessary insights to drive more success without all the trial and error. Now, data analysis can be a powerful tool for understanding market trends, identifying opportunities, and mitigating risk before you've actually taken those actions. Like before spending months on building out that membership that you feel like people would like, you can make a data-based decision that gives you the assurance that your efforts will produce a positive ROI. Some ways that we use data analysis in our business is to see what the market is naturally responding to. We look at questions being asked via social listening, Answer the Public, and Google search tools. So every week we sit down and look inside of groups that we're in to see the questions that are being asked and what people are actually needing. This allows us to help decide what our podcast ideas are, or hooks, or positioning potential. We can also take to Reddit to find specific ways and phrases that people use as part of their desires so that we can help name a workshop or test ad copy. And we use Google search to identify what people are looking for, the specific questions that people are asking, so that we can better leverage our podcasts and marketing materials so that they're actually answering those specific questions. We also use things like Facebook Ads Library to see what people are responding to in ads, like graphics and types of content. Data analysis absolutely holds a critical role in market research, and it gives you the actionable insights that can drive strategic decision-making, increase your customer engagement, and improve competitive positioning in the marketplace. So how often should you be doing data analysis? We recommend at least once a week to once a month. The second form of market research is to survey the market. This is known as primary market research. And just like I shared with that sandwich shop, it's exactly what we did. It's no secret that the best source is directly from the horse's mouth. And surveying your market is a fundamental method of using market research. Simply put, it involves getting pertinent information directly from people within your target market. And it works by collecting that data through questions or interviews that are going to give you the necessary information to meet your objective. The truth is, if you're not consistently surveying your audience, your marketing efforts are not as effective as they could be, meaning that you're leaving hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. So some of the ways that we use to survey our market are weekly polls and questions that are feeding our marketing efforts. Now, we run polls and open-ended questions as an integral part of our marketing strategy, and we do this every single week. What it allows us to do is three things. Number one is it validates and forecasts our marketing angles. By running a poll once a month, we're able to consistently determine what's important to our audience. This allows us to create trainings that directly correlate to their changing needs. The second thing is that it increases buy-in due to what's known as the IKEA effect. Now, the IKEA effect is a cognitive bias that suggests that people tend to place a higher value on products or ideas in which they've invested some effort, whether that investment is in the form of time, labor, or creativity. That means that just by having people respond, they feel more apt being a part of the content process and therefore making a decision at the end of the week. Now, the third way that we use this is to seed a concept. Both within our content marketing and our DM and sales call process, we use strategic questions that allow us to thread and seed the concept. So in marketing, this looks like open-ended questions that we might ask on a Monday that seed the concept that we're teaching that week. This is known as frequency illusion or the yellow car theory. The concept is that our attention will be drawn to things as we become more consciously aware of them. So if on a Monday, I ask you how you're using market research to get more sales in your business, you're likely to start seeing that concept everywhere and you're actively thinking and looking for it. This means that we're getting better conversions because people are actively in a state of mind of thinking about that. So how often should you be doing this? We say a minimum of once a month, and you should really shoot for once a week for maximum results. Now, the last and final form of market research is competitive analysis. This one might be a personal favorite because understanding your market means that you know your position in the market and you understand the key gaps and opportunities and how you can actually solve for them. Now, companies worldwide pour money into innovation and competitive analysis because they see it as one of the biggest factors that contribute to their opportunity to increase revenue. Now, effective competitive analysis will give you a big picture look at your business, the strengths and weaknesses, and help you understand where you fall in the market and your point of innovation and differentiation, and to know where you can allocate resources for expansion. For our clients, it's a huge part of developing their innovative gap methodology. We're not just making decisions based on what we feel is the right solution. Imagine going on Shark Tank and them asking what makes your product or service innovative or unique, and you responding with, well, I feel like we have great customer service. You're definitely going to get some interesting looks from the sharks because you don't have a clear way to identify your position in the market. The reality is identifying your innovation opportunities requires deep-seated market research, which includes a clear understanding of your target audience, data analysis, and of course, competitive analysis. But look, competitive analysis doesn't need to be difficult. Simple tools that we use for this are Google and your competitors' websites, Google Keywords, and the Facebook Ads library. By understanding what is being said and shared in your market and knowing and understanding what your audience wants while identifying the gaps that aren't being filled, we can now understand where the opportunity lies for innovation. And for our clients, they feel this using their innovative gap methodology that directly correlates to that. Now, there are businesses out there right now who their entire business model is really created around looking for negative reviews and spaces where there's gaps, so they can actually create innovative products that solve for those negative gaps. Just like Netflix was born from the fact that people were tired of late fees from forgetting to return their rentals to Blockbuster, Netflix understood and capitalized on that and created one of the most innovative companies that now creates billions of dollars of profit every year. Doing consistent competitive analysis allows you to identify the key market gaps that your business can fill. So how often should you be doing competitive analysis? We say anywhere from monthly to quarterly. Now that we've talked about the different ways to leverage market research and we talked about the different types of market research, it's time to talk about the process for effective market research. Now, the first and most important thing is probably knowing what your goal is, that objective. What do you want to be able to achieve as a result of the research that you're doing? Do you want to be able to validate an offer? Do you want to test messaging angles? Do you want to have a better understanding of your prospect's desires so you can create offers and market accordingly? Or are you looking to increase retention? The reality is understanding what your objective is, and the more specific you are in your objective, the easier your market research becomes. Now, the second step is information identification. This is about reverse engineering how to actually identify what you're presenting so that you get the right insights that you desire. For example, if you're looking to test messaging angles, you need to come up with your top 4 messaging angles in catchy headlines so that you're getting the most out of your testing. And if you're looking to increase retention, you may need to have periodic checkpoints that you have within your program that allow you to understand where people are getting stuck, and then to have actual questions or interviews where you're asking what you can actually provide to them to help them overcome that. This is about looking at things strategically and seeing the patterns in the way to present your questions. The next piece is to gather feedback. The more you condition your audience to respond, the more they want to respond. So let me explain. Gathering feedback without having conditioned your audience means that you're probably putting questions out there and not seeing results from it. When you condition your audience to learn what's in it for them, they're going to be more apt to actually responding to your market research. A great example of this is that weekly, we ask our audience to be able to give us feedback that will directly correlate to a podcast episode or training that we're creating. This has conditioned our audience to learn that when they give us the market research we want, they get something out of it that they directly want. Conditioning your audience is key to being able to actually get the data you need to have market research that drives sales in your business. Now, the last and final piece is knowing how to analyze the data that you're finding. Once you've gathered that information, it's knowing how you can actually apply it. Let's say, for example, that you find out the messaging angle that wins. How do you actually apply that market research to your marketing and sales process? For us, for example, just a few years ago, I ran a test to find out the best marketing winning angle, and we found out that the Netflix effect was a unanimous win. From that, we took that information and applied it all the way through our marketing, sales, and how we actually applied it within our programs, knowing that that was what people actually wanted. This is the type of insight that actually drives sales in your business, by understanding that we understand the right objectives so that we can get the right information and be able to apply that within our strategy. And this is why the Easy Yes method is so powerful. We don't just look at strategy as what we're thinking or what we want to just take shots at. We look at how to actually leverage effective market research every step of the way. So whether we're testing different marketing angles or running competitive analysis so we can identify the innovation opportunities, we're always looking at how to actually increase your conversions and revenue by doing less work and understanding market research. And it comes down to three things. Number one is winning the market. It's not about competing for attention. It's about making your competition irrelevant and creating inbound demand where clients are chasing you and happily paying without hesitation. We do this by helping you develop your innovative gap methodology, which targets ready buyers and showcases your innovative approach as the only solution to your high-end buyers. This step alone allows my clients to 5 to 10x their prices and have clients lining up to work with them. Next, we automate conversions by getting leads to sell themselves using the Netflix effect. This is done using our bingeable sales system. Our innovative approach focuses on accelerating the natural decision process through a proprietary sales psychology technique and combines it with the power of bingeability to make saying yes the only logical solution. This step turns your cold leads and lurkers into hot paying clients within just 48 hours, so you can focus on serving clients instead of convincing leads. And lastly is our pure profit strategy. This is where we leverage proactive programming to set your clients up for world-class results at scale, so you can leverage your two best and most profitable client sources: retention and referrals. Now, we've had the pleasure of helping over 400 businesses across every niche imaginable being able to innovate their industry. And we want to invite you to the next step of doing that within your business. So if you're ready to grow and scale a business that can run without you always needing to be on, I want to invite you to book a growth optimization call directly with me. On this call, we'll look at your current client acquisition process and exactly where the biggest opportunities lie in being able to create more scalable client acquisition. And I'll show you how the easiest method can be applied within your business. So if you're ready to book that call directly with me, head on over to easyesleads.com/call. But if you want to learn a little bit more about the method, maybe you're new around here, welcome. We're happy to have you. Head on over to easyesleads.com to check out how we use the Netflix effect to get your leads to sell themselves using a bingeable mini series. Again, you can head on over to easyesleads.com to check that out. And as always, we love and appreciate when you like, rate, and share this episode with a friend so that they too can leverage innovation as their most powerful resource. But until next time, here's to keeping it real.